Hi everyone, it's me again, Jayne at Rockin' Worms. I wanted to swing right into module 2 of breeder bin management, okay? This is literally a few minutes in my life after my first video module, which I'll link below, but for you it might be, several days because, it takes time to upload these videos. What I want to show you in this module is how I am pulling worms out of my breeder bins and placing them into their new bedding home for the next 21 days. And you might be like, you pull the worms, you put them in there. What's the big deal? Well, I have found a little trick to that I wanted to share with you that I find helps me and hopefully will help you. So this is the breeder bin I'm working on. And what I'm going to do, again, you can see all the cocoons. My gosh, look at these. This is awesome. They're just everywhere. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna flip over a section. And of course, all the worms are diving down because I've disturbed them. Here they go. They're gonna make a liar out of me. There we go. There we go. Okay, I knew they were in here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull these worms out. And you know what? I'm going to show you another trick that I just forgot to do because I just started doing this last night, so it's not part of my normal process. So let me just get rid of this handful here. Okay, look at these breeders. Look at how beautiful they are. The yellow tails, the bulgy cocoons, the nice size. This is what I was talking about in module 1, where you want worms that have a bigger girth to them so you get bigger cocoons. So let me put these in here and let me show you in a second here when you get to ogle my worms. Oogle, I'm not sure what it is. Oogle my worms. I'm gonna set up my second trick. And here it is, ta-da! It is one of those bed trays or lap TV trays, whatever. I had this in my house for a couple years. My daughter used it at university. I've used it at times when I've been bedbound for a couple days and, I want to be able to have a drink or read my book or something on it. So I already had this. And I've started using this just last night because I'm going to keep pulling worms while I'm talking to you. Okay. Because I've been historically working on either the tabletop level or in my sifter setup over here. And my sifter setup is higher than the table, right? And that's easier on my back. So then I would come back to working on the bin on the table. And, after 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, my third breeder bin, my back's killing me. And so I went looking for taller chairs that I could use with my table to raise me a bit higher. So I was, more over my bin looking down. But that was turning out not to be the solution because then I couldn't store the chair underneath the table and I didn't have place to put my legs. And I just kind of got stuck and I suffered with a hurt back for months. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, last night I was like, duh, instead of, raising me and the chair, what if I raise the bin and I can do this standing, which I'm okay doing. I'm okay doing it standing. And at this height, it is way less stressful on my back. Not that I'm not going to be tired at the end, that kind of thing. It's still a physical job, but I will be less achy. So the point of this little trick is just to, think about your own setups and what modifications you can make to how you work on your worm bins in order to make it physically easier on you because this is physical work. And you're going to be spending time in your worm bins. And let's make it as comfortable for us as we try to make it comfortable for them. Okay, so that's that. Now back to pulling these worms, and what am I doing that's different than just pulling worms and tossing them into a new breeder bin, a bedding setup? Well, this is it. Take the worms, put them on a pile, okay? Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's going to be in a few minutes as I continue to, pull more worms. So what I'm doing here, spoiler alert, is I'm using a little bit of downward migration to have the breeders that are in this pile in the new bedding go down into their new bedding to get away from the light, right? That's standard worm behavior. Let's use it to our advantage as we do when we do regular light migration, but now we're doing it with breeders. And this is why. I am taking the breeders out of here very quickly. I like to pull the breeders versus take away the bedding as a general way of doing it. I do take away bedding, don't get me wrong, but very quickly I go to pulling out the breeders by hand. And the reason I like to do that is because for a split second, I see every breeder. So I can see, do I have skinny breeders? Do I have protein poisoning? Do I have anemic looking worms, like, they're pale and nasty? Do I have a whole bunch of, bin critters in here that is a surprise to me? I can make that kind of observation by quickly pulling the breeders out one by one, okay? Now, here's the downside, so to speak, but I'm offsetting this by this trick I'm showing you, is by pulling these out very quickly, I'm not really cleaning them off, right? They've got a lot of castings on them, and they're also going to have a fair number of cocoons stuck to their moist bodies. It's just what happens. So by putting them in a pile, I found, and giving them a few minutes to light migrate downward, what happens is, let me see if I can show you. Normally I would put it all in one pile, just one pile, and just keep building the pile up, but I'm gonna do it a little bit side by side because I want to give these worms here a chance to go down. Is any cocoons that are stuck, adhered to the breeder's body by moisture, will be scraped off by the roughness of the new bedding as they go down. So what they do is, they leave any cocoons that were stuck to their bodies. Here's one over here too. Oh, no, that was a tail. I'm looking for another cocoon. There'll be more. I mean, here's one over here. Here's one over here. Here's one over right here, okay? So the point being, here's another one. If I didn't point that out, here's another one. All right, the point being that as the breeders go down, again, the bedding, this is mostly castings because it came out with them, scrapes off any cocoons that are adhered to their body. So it's easy for me to come back and pick, I just dropped it, of course, but pick the cocoons out. Just pick them out, and I normally don't put them in my hand. Let me get the bin here. This is that overs bin I told you about in the last video, where anything that doesn't go through my 1/8 inch screen goes into this holding bin, which will then go into a cocoon bin. I can put it directly into a cocoon bin, but just with my table work size, putting in a smaller holding bin just works for my space restrictions. And I just pull out any cocoons that are left behind by the breeders. And here's another one. See, you can see it's on the body. It's coming off of the body. And I just pick it off and put it in the holding bin for the cocoons. Nursery, here's another one. Now, what I also can do, here's another one. See, there's not a ton, but there are some, is I can do the light migration method and just scrape off some of this castings, which will have some of the cocoons in it. And again, here they are. And I just put them in the bucket that's going to go into the nursery bin, right? It's great because that's where they were going to go anyways. And so what if I sacrifice a little bit? I mean, we're talking at the end of this whole thing, if it's a cup of castings, I'd be surprised. If it's 2 cups of castings, it's okay. I'm, quote, sacrificing some of these castings immediately in order to better harvest the cocoons and spend less time trying to pick off cocoons off of breeders when I do the reset. Okay, and again, I'm using the term sacrificing the castings very loosely because I'm not sacrificing. Those castings eventually are coming back into my castings bin and going out to the garden. It's just a matter of, is it immediate or is it, in a couple weeks or a couple months, okay? So that's what I wanted to show you. It's just a new way I have found, and let me turn these guys over, to harvest my breeders quickly, efficiently, not have to worry about, the cocoons that are sticking to their bodies, use their natural tendencies to facilitate the process. Okay, so that's module number 2, people. Stick with me. Other modules will be coming along in the next couple of weeks. I won't say that every next video I make will be on this topic because, cool stuff happens in the worm bins all the time. And I want to show you, things as they happen. But I hope this will help you better manage your breeder bins at this point. Okay? I hope you have a good night. I'll see you next time. I'm glad that you're one of my castings crew, and I will see you in the dirt, Jayne.